What's going on, everyone? It's another episode of the WVSports.com podcast. I am Wesley Shoemaker, joined by the one and only Keenan Cummings. It is our weekly Wednesday recording slot. However, there is some news out of Morgantown, West Virginia. The early signing period began today, and West Virginia inked 21 commitments without a head coach in place. So, Keenan, recruiting extraordinaire yourself, just your overall thoughts on what the Mountaineers did today. I know they flipped a kid. They got a lot of kids that were already committed to stay committed. Just how crazy was today?
I think, I've done this for a long time. I've covered recruiting for almost 15 years. I've followed it a lot longer than that. Those that have followed me, I kind of got my start as a recruiting guy on the message board. I used to do it for free. So I used to kind of live, eat, and breathe the stuff, even in my free time. I think West Virginia's had bigger splashes on signing day. I think they've had better classes. I'm not necessarily sure that I remember one that just was this ridiculous in a word. I mean, I don't know how to describe it, but just so unexpected from Sunday. Now, last night, I posted on our message board, I was getting the feeling that today was going to be a really good day for West Virginia. I thought that they were going to sign all the guys they had committed, maybe add a couple guys, and that's exactly what happened. But if you would have asked me this Sunday, actually, you don't even have to ask me. You can go back and read my 3-2-1 column if you want to. I clearly outputted that I had no idea what was going to happen. There was a lot of uncertainty at that time. Neil Brown had just been fired. Practically most, if not all, the recruits that took to social media said that, some of them were decommitting, some of them remained committed, but, we're exploring their options. And here we are, a couple days later, you lost one guy from that list. I'm not going to count Tariq Mallory because I think he was going to Florida State, whether this happened or not. But you lost Sirius Stenyard. Other than that, you kept everybody from a pretty solid class. And that's just incredible. I mean, you think about this, you got to tip your hat to all those guys in the Postcard building. All the guys in the Postcard Center right now, Trey and I are, down the line, Ken Signoretti, all the assistant coaches, the support staff. This is incredible. I mean, Wes, you look at other Power 4 programs right now without a head coach. I think I posted the totals. I think UCF signed 4.
You said UC. I got it. Yeah, North Carolina 4, UCF 5, and Purdue 6 is what, as of what was that, 12:45 p.m. ish. So
West Virginia signed 21, and they could add another one tomorrow. There's still another guy on the board, Evan Powell, or in the next couple of days. He has not signed yet. And he was committed to West Virginia, so it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. But just incredible. I mean, it really is. And it's a testament to the effort that those guys put in. I know that over the past couple of days, they've been calling kids, talking to kids, and that's hard to do in their position. They're uncertain right now. They don't know what's going to happen to them. Selling the school, selling the things that, they fell in love with outside the coaching staff because they can't guarantee they're going to be there. But selling that kind of stuff and getting those kind of returns, because I'm just going to be flat out honest. I've seen a lot of people will have replied to me on social media or the message board. Well, they paid them. Don't you think West Virginia would have paid guys before to get them? I mean, come on, guys. West Virginia doesn't got more money than Michigan, and Michigan was after one of their recruits. Or they know who the next head coach. No, they do not. I can absolutely confirm.
Yeah, because the high schoolers are sure going to know.
As of right now, they do not know who the next head coach is. But I think it's just an incredible effort, and it's a testament really to those guys. I've worked with them a lot over the last 6 years and gotten to know a lot of them. And I think that this doesn't surprise me. The result does. Don't get me wrong. I never would have guessed this, but them putting the effort forth does not surprise me at all. And I think it's, really cool to see in a sense. This signing day for West Virginia was, many expected, including myself, this was going to be a really gloom day. Sunday, that's how I felt. West Virginia was going to have a bunch of bad news. We're going to have to backfill their class with a bunch of transfers and hoping you can pull some guys late, hoping maybe some of these guys give you a second chance. Nope, you just sign them all, apparently. And even better than that, I've got the list over on the board, but, about half these guys are going to be enrolling early. So they'll be here in January. And I think that's just really, really cool to see.
Yeah, I think that you nailed it perfectly when you talked about the work of this staff because I mean, even think back just 24 hours for those who listened to Ren Baker's press conference. He said, "We'll be good to the staff if they're good to us and to the school and to this program." And you can kind of see that commitment because, as you said, the staff's futures are very up in the air because if a new coach comes, a new coach could totally bring in his new staff, who he wants in certain places, especially when it comes to recruiting and things like that, and have it done his way. And so to see that commitment, to still be able to sell the school, the program, the city of Morgantown, things like that, that these guys have kind of committed to in a sense, because you can see their level of buy-in. I know on social media, we kind of talked about this offline, is that there was a level of buy-in from some of these guys. Kind of started at the top after the Neil Brown news broke. Of some guys seemed a little nervous about what was going to happen next, but then you saw a couple guys say, you know what, I'm still committed, I'm going to sign on Wednesday. And then more guys started to say, I'm going to sign on Wednesday, I'm still committed. And so that kind of buy-in from the group, we've seen it in other classes for sure, but that's a really cool thing to see as well. But yeah, serious hat tip to the staff with the work, because I mean, you don't keep these guys, your staff's not working around the clock the last half week. And I know we even talked about on Sunday, Monday, of the thing that makes this the hardest thing ever for replacing a coach is the calendar, because you have the signing day that's early, and then you have the portal opening and all the complications that could cause. And here we are 4 days later, and it seems like a pretty productive day for West Virginia.
Yeah, I think it probably went as well as it could. I mean, I think they were aided a little bit by the calendar. You know, these guys are familiar with West Virginia. Clearly, all of them have taken official visits except Julian Horton, who we'll talk about the two new guys here in a bit. But you know, all of them have taken official visits to West Virginia. But even if they haven't, they visited several times. So there was a comfort level there. And you know, we're currently in a dead period, which I know a lot of people get confused out there about dead period. That doesn't mean coaches can't call kids or kids can't call coach. It just means no in-person contact, either on campus or away from campus. So that means no visits. So in a sense, you know, the timing worked out really well for West Virginia, you know, when Neil Brown was fired. But I think you got to tip your hat to Neil too. You know, we've heard that he's been very helpful, you know, in this process. He definitely tried to keep the class together. I know that for a fact. And I think that's, again, you know, something for him. But it's just insane to me in today's era, you know, with the transfer portal and guys. I really thought that this class would fall apart if Neil Brown was fired. And I said constantly that if that has to happen, it has to happen. It's a necessary sacrifice. I think talking to the kids, you know, there was a comfort level, a belief, a faith, you know, not only from the coaching staff, but, you know, the ones that talked to Ren Baker about the direction of the program. And, you know, they can be that class to kind of bring West Virginia back. And can you imagine that, selling that as the current staff? You know, that must have been difficult. But, you know, it's a job. You pull up your pants, you get your job done. And I think that it deserves recognition. You know, it sounds like I'm kind of going on about this, but I am. I'm blown away.
It's not an easy feat.
I've done this for a long time, guys. Rarely am I surprised. You know, I might be surprised by a guy going somewhere, you know, at the last minute, but this is what's surprising to me. And not necessarily, you know, today, this is the outcome, how changed in 24 hours. You kind of saw it with Scotty Fox first. You know, he was the first domino saying he was sticking, and then you saw all these guys follow his lead. And, you know, talking with those guys, they believe that, you know, they can come in. This is a great place. It's a great fan base. And regardless of who is here, you know, they were sold on, you know, West Virginia. And that's a positive for whatever coach is going to step in, because I can tell you right now, you're behind the eight ball if you're not bringing in a freshman class. I mean, I don't care. I know the transfer portal can help you. I know that some guys have had a lot of success with that. Kurt Signetti, especially at Indiana, bringing a lot of guys over from his old school. But that's not always a guarantee either. So I think to at least have a base, because who knows what this transfer portal is going to bring for West Virginia. You already lost 4 scholarship guys. You're going to lose more. It's just the nature of the beast. How much those losses are felt, the weight of those losses, you're going to have to backfill somewhere. So I think that They got some talented guys. I think all of these guys are Power 4 players. Even the ones that you're like, oh, okay, they added him, but all of them can run, or they're big, they're athletic, they fit the profile of what you want to see in the future. It might take some time to develop, but you're a lot better developing off in a Power 4 program than you are in high school. So overall, pretty good. I do want to talk about both the new guys. Kind of kept that under my hat a little bit last night. I hinted around. I definitely let everybody know this morning. But that's two that West Virginia has definitely been working on. Dwayne Galloway, not a new name to anybody that follows West Virginia recruiting. They had him on an official visit in the summer. He kind of came by himself. He had a track meet, I believe, during the weekend of the first official visits. But I think he came the second through the fourth. Then he came back for a camp. He didn't work out, but he was there hanging out with the coaches. And really fast cornerback. He's got elite speed. 100-meter, I think it's something insane. It's very impressive. Good cover guy. He's a little raw right now, but you can't teach speed, and he's got plenty of it. If you're going to lose guys like Elgin Sessions or Sirius Stinyard, it's a good place to start. Had a lot of major offers. Was once committed to Purdue. I think that was kind of more of a family thing. His cousin plays there, but he's down on the transfer portal as well. So Tavion Galloway, another name that you should be familiar with West Virginia recruiting, might be back on the board for West Virginia eventually. But that's a name to keep an eye out for. And then the second one, Julian Horton, not a new name, just kind of like that Obi-Wan Kenobi thing. I haven't heard that name in a long time. That's kind of what you're thinking, when you think about him. West Virginia got involved with him really early. He visited for some junior days. He was on campus. Came back late, kind of slipped in. I think it was maybe the Baylor or UCF game, one of the two. Came late and was actually possibly going to take an official visit during the Texas Tech game, which is nuts. It didn't happen, but he ended up going to Missouri for a visit. But West Virginia kind of worked that thing over and over and over, got him to sign. He was committed to North Carolina, got him to sign, and another really athletic safety. He's a really good athlete, can play either side of the ball, but he's probably going to be destined at safety, can run real well, has good range, can cover, and really is physical. You watch his tape, that stands out. So both guys, really big additions to West Virginia's class, especially considering, some of the guys they lost. They didn't lose a lot. It's a handful of guys, but, you'd like to have kept them, but you're not going to keep everybody. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. You got to be happy with the 21 you kept and the way this whole process unfolded. I don't know. You're always going to have the, glass half empty people, but in practicality, it's hard to do better than West Virginia did today.
I think one thing for me, and I think this is kind of the point we've reiterated this whole time, is the work of this staff, though, because there could have been a level of complacency with them just with the whole outside noise of what's going on of, I might not have a job here in a month. I might not have a job here in 3 weeks even. Why should I care? And so I think what did we talk about this whole time with even Neil Brown of how high character he was? And you can kind of see that top down with his staff of there's all these guys that they don't have to do what they're doing, but they are because they're good people and they want to do what's best for their current situation. Going back to the basketball staff last year, Keenan, right? Like in that interim year, they all wanted to do what was best for West Virginia. So I think it's good when you have that buy-in, especially from the coaching staff, especially in what is a weird time and a weird signing day because there is no head coach.
Yeah, I don't remember. I've never had one where we don't have a press conference. So that's a little strange to me. I'm kind of sitting here wondering what I'm going to do, other than write for the rest of the day. And, obviously there's a coaching search going on, but being a little facetious. But I think, too, something else needs to be mentioned is just for the West Virginia brand. This is a big day for the brand. And I don't think a lot of programs, even with the work of the coaching staff, could sell this, as successfully. I think it's an energizing shot in the arm of the fan base. You've seen how excited people are, and I think that this class is going to be one that's remembered. Not necessarily, who knows what happens on the field, but just guys that bought in, committed, and kind of went with it before there really was a direction to go.
Sorry to interrupt you, Keenan. We have official breaking news of West Virginia's bowl game. So we are live talking right now. West Virginia will play Memphis in the Frisco Bowl on December 17th at 9 p.m. Game will be on ESPN. So, I mean, this goes back, let's hit on Ren a little bit from yesterday. He wanted to play in an early bowl game. This was ideally what would be best. So now you have a bowl game, which is 14 days from today. Yeah, that's good math. Yeah, 13 days from today. That's a quick turnaround for a staff that doesn't know who the headman will be, but also for players to allow them to also play and then obviously exercise their right to hit the portal.
Now you know how nuts this is. What were we talking about right before we got on here?
We were talking about the possibility of a bowl game, Keenan. That's what
Yes,
we were talking about.
I think that this is good for West Virginia for a lot of reasons. You got your bowl opponent. It's not going to be far out. It's not going to clash with the new head coach. You're going to be able to keep your roster together too as much as you can. And I think that's important. It's definitely important. And really, a lot of people have asked me, do you think West Virginia should play in the bowl? Why is West Virginia playing in the bowl? I'll tell you why they're playing the bowl. The seniors want to play in the bowl. The players want to play. They earn the right. You don't want to tell kids you're not playing. Now, if the kids didn't want to play, that's different. But they want to play. And, fun matchup.
A ranked team. So
there you go. A good chance.
Chad
Scott will have a great audition.
Chad Scott will have a great audition. Anything else you want to hit on from either recruiting or Ren before we wrap this up?
No, I think we'll get into that a little bit later. Maybe we'll do one of these tomorrow or the next day because Ren will be its own kind of deal. But
we
got a lot of content up on the site right now. I recommend you check it out and get a good look at it.
We got a couple of good deals going on, don't we?
Yes, we do. Free 99. It's hard to beat free. If you're a new user, if you've watched this podcast before, like what we have to say, there's a ton more information on our site. You've got, me covering recruiting, me and Wes on the team beats, Vernon all over this coaching search, us supporting us as we can. Recommend you check it out. It's free 99 if you're a new user. You sign up.
A link will be in whatever description. If you're watching this, listening, a link will be in a description there for you to follow.
Yes.
So with that, we good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. So this is another episode of the WVSports.com podcast. We hope you made it this far. We do appreciate you listening. I'm Wesley Shoemaker, joined by Keenan Cummings, and thank you for listening.